Hello, Laurel Houston here. Thank you for your patience. They changed the way that live videos are done now, so it took me a minute to get in there and get started and get everything set up. So thank you for your patience. So I've done all the hair videos, and so I pulled a card. So we are going to be talking about teeth today. And for those of you that are like, wait, pull the card, what are you talking about? So these are body mapping cards, and I actually just created and added to the deck. So for those of you who have the cards, there are a couple of things that I changed. I added some more features. The cards are actually larger now. Oh, I should have thought about this beforehand. So here's the original size, here's the new deck, because there was so much information on them that people were saying, hey, it's hard to read. And I added some chakra cards, and I added some moon phase cards. So there's those. But today is about teeth. So if you're hopping on, let's see if their new system works. Say hello, tell me you're here. For those of you who are new to Body Mapping with Laurel, my name is Laurel Houston. I am the creator of Body Mapping and the founder of Reflections Inside and Out, where our goal is to help you love who you are inside and out. And I am glad that you're here. For those of you who have never heard of body mapping before, body mapping is the literal map that the universe left on your body to help you learn your purpose, know who you are, and to truly understand who you are. So I don't usually talk about teeth unless I'm in my advanced body mapping classes, but I've had so many questions, and so I will be very honest. I'm going to give you about this much information about teeth because teeth is really, really in depth. But the thing that I wanted to talk about with teeth, and one of the reasons why teeth are hard are because you have a lot of them. And you have baby teeth. Hey, Ashley! You have baby teeth, you have adult teeth, you have wisdom teeth, you have crooked teeth, you have straight teeth, you have cavities, you have gums. There are so many things when it comes to teeth. So each individual tooth actually holds a different emotion in it, depending on whether it's on the top of the mouth or the bottom of the mouth, the front, the back, the shape. So teeth have a lot. But what I wanted to talk about in this is that teeth are about decision making. They're about breaking down decisions. Think about what your teeth physiologically allow you to do. They take the things that we ingest, the things that we take in, and it breaks them down into pieces that we can actually assimilate. So when you don't chew your food properly, you choke. When you don't think through your decisions properly, you choke. And you go to make a decision and then you stop. So a lot of people that are indecisive tend to have teeth problems. So part of this is that your teeth take big things and break them into smaller things. And when everything in your life appears to be bigger than you are because you're in a state of anxiety or stress or overwhelm, teeth really causes problems because you take a bite of a sandwich, you don't shove the whole sandwich in. Because have you ever had so much food in your mouth where you couldn't actually chew? Like you thought it was a good idea to shove it all in there, and then you're like, like your jaw cannot open and close large enough, and to actually break it down into processes. So this is about teeth, but I felt really inspired to actually take this a little bit into like anxiety and that kind of stuff, because your mind is what decides how big something is. And when something is too big for you to chew, or you take too big of a bite, you take on too much, it causes us to choke, whether that is emotionally, physically, or spiritually. So a big part of a way to keep your teeth healthy is to have really good boundaries. So think about your boundaries, your ability to say that doesn't work for me, your ability to say no thank you, your ability to say you're not welcome, are all different. That's like brushing your teeth. That's how you keep your decision making clean and pure and all about you. You've got to brush all of everybody else off of you. And if you don't, then it starts to overtake you. So people that spend a lot of time in people pleaser, or they are really trying to get permission from everyone. They're seeking acceptance at a really, really high level. And so they say yes when really they mean no. Those are all things that are going to affect your teeth, because that would be like drinking a glass of milk before you go to bed and then just letting it sit and have all that acid be on your teeth all night long. When you let other people's opinions and decision making overtake yours, that would be like sleeping with food in your mouth and then wondering why you were getting cavities. Because the truth be told about cavities is that most cavities actually start from the inside of the tooth out. And so by the time you see a cavity, it's not usually just something that's scratched on the surface. It's something that's been in there. Think of a thought or someone else's opinion. It's something that's been in there for a really, really long time, breaking down your ability to make things manageable. And so when people have teeth problems, cavities, crowns, broken teeth, all of those kind of things, I know that they are either not good at making decisions, meaning they're relying on everyone else to help them justify the decision that they've made. A lot of people that have acid rot on their teeth, these are people who overthink, and so they usually also have digestive issues as well, acid reflux, anxiety, depression, because they're overthinking and overanalyzing, and so they're overworking. So the dentist will say something like, you look like you have a lot of extra wear on your teeth. Do you grind your teeth? And a lot of people who grind their teeth at night are because subconsciously they're trying to break things down into manageable pieces, because the conscious mind has taken on way too much. So when you are having, I had a toothache a little while ago, and it was fascinating to me because the scenario that I was in, I had people staying in my home, and it literally tripled the amount of people in my home. I have a family of 5, and I had 10 extra people staying there, and so my anxiety was a little bit higher there. They were people that I didn't necessarily have a really strong relationship with, and so I was worried about what they were thinking about me, so I had high anxiety and all sorts of other things that I was overthinking, and it really caused a huge toothache. And I noticed it's because I was biting, like I was clenching my jaw. And part of it was these particular people tend to see me as too bold and too outspoken, and so I was literally holding back my words. And I was doing this so intensely that I was causing a toothache. And so that night I went and I said, I'm allowed to speak my truth, but I can still do it kindly. I'm allowed to speak my truth, and I can do it kindly. And so the next day we were in similar scenarios, and I was able to speak my truth, and I spoke it with kindness, and I had no toothache after that. I didn't have to go to the dentist. Like, it was bad enough that I'm not someone who usually takes painkillers. I was ready to start taking painkillers. So other things with teeth, because people always have so many questions about teeth. Other things with teeth, so for starters, your top teeth are your feminine teeth, and your bottom teeth are your masculine teeth. And so what I mean by that is if you are having problems with the feminine, it's going to be up top. Feminine does not mean woman. If you are around men who are stuck in feminine energy, they will affect your top teeth, not your bottom teeth. So don't think male, female. Think masculine energy. The push, the masculine energy is about push. It's about protection. It's about let's get this crap done. That's bottom teeth. Top teeth are feminine energy. It's the nurture. It's the invite. It's the I want to bring people to me. So when you're struggling with one of those energies, it will only affect the top or the bottom of the teeth. Other things with teeth, in the US, we have an obsession with people's teeth being like chiclets, like white, like we can reflect light off of them. And that's kind of ironic because teeth should be slightly cream colored and not yellow, but they're not supposed to be stark white. People that have healthy teeth, it does look like bone. And so it's kind of that off-white. And so here in the US, we bleach them like crazy and want them white. But cream-colored teeth are actually considered the healthiest teeth. So if you have discoloration on your teeth, that is a sign that other people have tainted your view on your ability to make decisions. So an example of this would be a lot of kids that are on antibiotics while their permanent teeth are forming. The permanent teeth will come in and it will have some discoloration on it. It will, like when you get those little white bruises on your fingernails, it'll look like that, but on your tooth. And it's usually from an antibiotic that you were taking while your teeth were forming. But that's because you had an outside source that was trying to overtake your decision-making ability, or your ability to, you got told a lot, well, you're wrong, or your opinion doesn't matter, or you don't know, stop talking, things like that. Crooked teeth on the bottom, well, crooked teeth, period. These are people who tend to be more stubborn and set in their ways, and so they don't like to be moved. Is there a difference on what side of the mouth? Yes, so thank you for bringing back that, Gina. So you still have, so when you cut a body in half, your left is feminine, your right is masculine, except for in the mouth, because your top is feminine and your bottom is masculine. So your left side is about past, your right side is about future. So if it was the top left, that would be past feminine. If it's the bottom left, that would be past masculine. If it's the top right, that would be feminine future. And if it's the bottom right, it would be past masculine. Okay, so crooked teeth, I know I got sidetracked. Don't worry, I'll come back to it, babe. So crooked teeth are about people who are really on one side of the coin stubborn, on the other side of the coin tenacious and really wanting to stick to it. The thing that I would say to that though is make sure that you're sticking to what's really best for you and not just I'm digging my heels in and I'm staying here. So one of the things that forces teeth to go crooked is because they're being crowded. And so another thing with people with crooked teeth is they tend to take on more than they can handle. And so think of it like a crowded suitcase. If you try to shove too many things in the suitcase, it's hard to close. When your teeth are really, really crowded, it's because you have one decision, one trial, one problem, one success, and they're all piled right on top of each other, crammed in that same suitcase. And part of it is because you are so stubborn and tenacious. And so when you say, I'm going to do it, you do it. Where a gap in the teeth is almost the exact opposite. Like these people are very, very intuitive. They need space in between their decision making. They need space in between their trials. So when people that have gaps in their teeth have one trial back to back to back, it really, really wears on them. Where someone who has crowded teeth can actually handle a couple things piling on them before they get to their breaking point. And part of that is because when you have that gap in your teeth, you actually need a break in between your decision making. And when people try to get you to make decisions too quickly, you will just default to, no, I can't do that. And you'll have kind of a freak out moment. And it's because you need a break in between your yes and no's and I commit to that or I won't commit to that. Where when your teeth are kind of crowded in there and they're crooked, whether people put too much on you or you take too much on, it kind of comes together. What about a snaggletooth? Or let's see, I have one son that has a really high tooth on one side. Okay, so this has been so fascinating when I talk to people about teeth because everyone kind of has their own definition of a snaggletooth. But when I think of a snaggletooth, I think of one that's like up in the gums or twisted. So when you have up in the gums or things that are twisted, that up in the gums, those are people who need a lot of support because your gums are what nurture you and support you. You can take as good a care of your teeth as you want to, but your gum health is actually what determines whether or not your teeth fall out. So no, I'm not a dental hygienist, but any of them will tell you, you need to floss. Your gums are more important than your teeth if you don't want to lose them. Because your gums are what support them. Your gums are what nurture them. And so when you have teeth that are stuck up high in the gums, these are the children that tend to need more support and more nurturing and more comforting. So if you were that child, and the thing that I think is interesting about that, because these two teeth, here, look at closer, these two teeth were up here. So I looked like I had double canines. And my daughter has it too right now. And then all of a sudden, I looked in the mirror and I was like, hey, my teeth moved down. And a couple months before that is when I was like, I am independent. I'm going to make my own decisions and I can do my own things and I don't need people's help anymore. I actually remember like what sparked it, and I was like, I don't need you people anymore. And I had some really crappy friends, and that's what sparked it. So now I'm grateful for those friends because they helped my teeth straight now. So another thing with teeth, braces. This is the question I get asked the most. Well, if braces are about if teeth are about decision making and I put braces on my kids, is that going to affect their ability to make decisions? Well, were they part of the decision making process to get braces, or did you say to them, I'm getting you braces? Because not everyone is bothered by their crooked teeth. I've had crooked teeth my whole life. My front tooth goes over this one, and all of my teeth down here are crooked. I've been complimented on my smile my entire life. It has never bothered me that I have crooked teeth because my bite matches, so I've never had jaw problems. For me to get braces would be completely just aesthetics. I do not have any physical problems or what's the word I'm looking for? There's no physiological reason why I need braces. I don't have jaw problems. I don't get headaches. I can chew my food. I don't have any issues there. So if my parents had come to me and said, we're getting you braces, that actually would have been kind of jolting to me, because I would have felt like, what's wrong with my smile? I love my smile. I have a beautiful smile. Where other people won't smile. They are waiting for someone to say, let's fix your teeth. And I even had people make fun of me for my crooked teeth when I was little, and I was like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. I have a beautiful smile. And so it's interesting, because if my parents had come to me and said, we're getting you braces, that would have really hurt me. But I have another sister who waited our whole lives to be told my parents were getting her braces. Finally, as a 25-year-old, she bought her own once she moved out of the house and got married. But it just wasn't something that my parents could financially do, and so we didn't. So that is something that if they are in on the decision making, I have a weird curl that keeps popping up. If they are in on the decision making process to alter their decision making, meaning their teeth, then they will stay put. But if they are told you're getting braces and they hate it and they don't want them, as soon as you get the braces off and they don't have a permanent retainer, they will move back to what they originally were, because they aren't accepting the new requirement. When you shift teeth, you are literally changing the way someone processes things. Not just, and for some that's a good thing. Like their bite doesn't match, so no matter how much they process through a decision, it doesn't line up enough to break it down for them emotionally, physiologically. So they really do struggle. Then you have other people that the teeth match, the bite matches. They can chew food, they can break things down, but they're afraid to open up because they're afraid that people will see they're not perfect. So if they are in on the decision-making process, if your child comes to you and says, can I get braces? Sure. If it is within your means and your financial ability to do so, then do it. But if you are going to your child and telling them, we're going to have to break your jaw apart because we've got to use expanders and we have to completely change the way that your mouth is formed, you have completely told that child everything about the way you break things down is wrong. And parents so for those of you who are like, oh, I forced all of my children to do that. Okay, well, you didn't know what you didn't know, so don't beat yourself up about it. But no, it will alter your child's ability to make decisions. Now, for some of you, that's a good thing, because all of a sudden they'll be able to break things down into bite-sized pieces, because now their bite matches. And their teeth, like if it's an overbite, they actually have teeth that are coming down, and they can bite things, and they can chew things, and they can tear things down apart, and all of those things. And so don't beat yourself up because you forced your child to have braces. You didn't know what you didn't know. But now that you know it, there is something that you can say, I have noticed that they make decisions differently. Has it helped or hindered? Is it something that they're feeling stretched apart, like they're being told that they need to take on too much? Or is it that they're like, oh, now that I have space and I have gap, I can handle what's being given to me? So before you decide that it was a good or bad or right or wrong decision, see what it's doing to their ability to make decisions, because for some of them it's helping them, and for some of them it's hindering them. But the thing is for those that it's hindering them, as soon as they get the braces off, their teeth will go back to where they were. They will be the kid that loses 10 retainers. They will be the one that has a permanent retainer and it breaks. My husband. So he had braces 3 different times. He had a permanent retainer. They took out the permanent retainer. He had one he was just supposed to sleep in, and he lost it. And it's been interesting because his bottom teeth went back to where they naturally were, and all of a sudden he could make decisions. It's really interesting, but I knew what was happening, so I didn't fight it and I didn't care. So here's my big, because I can see a whole bunch of questions popping up, and there's 2 things to this. So 1, I really like to keep these to a half an hour, and 2, I want to, some of the questions that you guys are asking, I can't answer shortly, especially like missing teeth, wisdom teeth, if they are major discolorations, cavities, what each individual tooth means. Those are all things that I will happily answer for those of you that are in Body Mapping Basics. That is an open enrollment program, and so that is something that if you're like, I have a lot of really deep questions that I want answered, Body Mapping Basics is the place that I can answer those in. So with teeth, your biggest takeaways are they're part of the decision-making process. They're people's abilities to take big things and break them down. If you are having teeth problems, it's about decisions. If you are having gum problems, it's about feeling supported or unsupported and nurtured. So if you're having problems with teeth, stop taking so much on. If you're having problems with gums, start asking people for help, because that is what will actually help with those. And yes, you still have to brush your teeth. And yes, I actually am a huge advocate of pulling. So not pulling teeth, but it's you use coconut oil and you swish it around in your mouth. I am not an advocate for fluoride in any way, shape, or form. It messes with the pituitary gland and it inhibits people's ability to see and discern truth. So there are a lot of things that the toothbrush is actually what cleans your teeth, not toothpaste, on a side note. But the biggest thing is your ability to keep your teeth clean, and whether or not they get a lot of plaque and whether or not that's easy to brush off actually has a lot to do with your boundaries and whether or not you say to people, that doesn't work for me, or you say to people yes and you mean it, or no and you mean it. But when you say what you mean and you mean what you say, you have less teeth problems. And when you only take on the amount of decisions you're capable of taking on, then you don't have teeth problems. So your teeth are about decision making. So when you are having teeth issues, the first question you should ask yourself is, what decision am I avoiding, or am I trying to decide too much at once? So I hope this was helpful. And like I said, if you have a lot of really in-depth questions and you want those answered, I would love for you to join me in Body Mapping Basics. Because of what I teach, I am actually getting a lot of pushback from Facebook, and so that is something that I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do live videos. I will do them as long as it's allowed, and I appreciate and love all of you that show up. And I will talk to you next week. Have a fantastic week, and good luck at the dentist gate.